through months and months, going through the preseason, recruiting all these girls, just being able to finally get on the court together on Monday. What's that feeling like for you?
Truthfully, I'd love 3 more weeks of preseason. But I think, if you gave me 3 more weeks, I might ask for 3 more. But I'm excited. The girls have been working hard since July. They've been working on not only the basketball side of things, but learning how to come together, learning how to lead, learning how to follow, and learning just kind of how to everybody get on the same page. And obviously, when you mold so many kids together, it's going to take a little bit of time. But I think of all of our years, the kids have done a tremendous job. And I think we're seeing that gel. I think today was a great practice. And so going into Monday, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for the girls.
So throughout the season, last season, you're like, we just have to communicate. But I feel like this time, they're communicating more. They're gelling together, like you said, like totally different team.
I mean, it quite literally is a different team. We have 8 new faces. For the first time in my career, our whole staff, we actually are able to coach kids for 3 years. So we have some kids that are leading by example. But I think as important as the leading by example is the young ladies coming up from within, and no one's bucking. And I think everybody's kind of following suit. I think our communication's better, but as Carla's back there probably smiling, our communication needs to get 100% better no matter what. We have to continue to learn and grow together, and communication is only going to help that, both offensively, defensively, and just with overall chemistry, and just really being able to have that camaraderie together.
So we talk about the non-conference schedule. Yours is pretty brutal.
Always.
Up until the first game, then you got Kansas after that. So do you think it's just going to prepare you for conference anyway?
I do. I think it's important for our players to see the highest level and see it early. I think it's going to allow us to be able to really critique what we did well, what we need to fix, and what's going to push us into that first, we'll say, more evenly matched opponent. But we're going to be able to do that against 3 incredibly good teams, 3 very well coached teams. But aside from taking on 3 really good teams, we also have a significant amount of time to spend together and to get away from town, get away from school. Although we'll have study hall, but grow together as a family. And so you do that on the court, but I think we have to spend a pretty significant time doing that off the court. And I think that's going to help us for the overall duration of our season.
So if you want to talk about it, just the confidence going into Monday. I know that you didn't want to talk a lot, but just go ahead.
Okay.
Anything you want to say?
I'm really excited. I think our girls have done a really nice job. I think we're deeper in the post play. I think we're longer on the perimeter. I think we're bringing back our starting point guard from last year. We have our other point guard who's coming off an injury from last year. So I just think we're gelling. Obviously when you go and you take on these Power 5 opponents, you're typically outmatched in some way right from tip. And in this game, we're not necessarily outmatched as far as size goes. We're pretty evenly compared on the perimeter. They have a 5'6" point guard. We have a 5'6" point guard. They have a couple 5'9", 6-foot guards, and they're playing pretty even down low. Obviously the natural ability to play a little bit faster, maybe be a little bit stronger in their skill set. But I think of our girls are going to make sure Nebraska knows they're playing Northwestern State. And that's something we talk about, and that's something we pride ourselves on. So I'm excited because I think the girls can make this game incredibly competitive. I think that this is something that can really set the tone. And no matter what, as long as we just keep fighting, play through the adversity of the game, because it's going to happen, then we're going to walk away incredibly proud of them. Not to mention it's Kids Day, so that's awesome, because if the kids like purple more than they like red, that might be the reason they cheer for us. If we score the first basket, they might cheer for us. So I think there's going to be an energy about the game, and there's a lot of our girls that have never played in that type of an environment, and so it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a shell shock, but it's going to be exciting. So just overall, really excited about the opportunity.
So I asked Coach Cabrera yesterday about the grandmas and your Army, and then he said they met them, and they've already kind of welcomed them. But how have they been with obviously the new girls? And I know that they probably have called them grandmas already.
I think we should avoid the grandma term. I think we have come to the agreement that we prefer aunts, not grandmas. So we'll just stick with Anna's Army. But just the abundance of support that they provide us, not just on the court and hugs after practice, but their willingness to support us in any fundraising activity, in any community engagement activity. They're not just such a support system for the girls, they're an incredible support system for myself and my staff. There's no other way to describe them other than a true blessing.
You talked about having coached a pretty good amount of girls for the 3rd time that they've been in your system and know you and all that sort of stuff. Tell me about their role in, from a leadership perspective, bringing in new players again, but also just how they've helped acclimate them to plays, system, expectations, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think the returners have done a tremendous job. Maybe not always by voicing it, but they set the tone. They know the expectations, something as simple as how we finish a sprint. They know what we want. And what's been really good, not to say we haven't had slippage at times, but what's been really good is so many things have been taken off the coaches' plates from nitpicking that kind of stuff, where it takes a while to kind of get that stuff rolling, and that expectation truly set. I think our returners know what we want, know what the program wants, and know the standard of what it means to be a Lady Demon, and they've done a really nice job. And kind of like I mentioned before, sometimes that's incredibly hard, but they could be tremendous. But if you don't have ones that want to get on board and follow, you could be the best leader in the world, but you still got to have someone to follow and to be there. And I think as proud as I am of the returners, I'm equally proud of the incoming students, student athletes, because they haven't bucked. And it's been a breath of fresh air. And if they say do it, we do it, maybe with a little encouragement sometimes for me. But, collectively, I think they're working really well as a unit. So it's a pat on the back to every single returner, but it's also a pat on the back to every single incoming kid.
For you, has that made this off-season, these preseason practices feel different? What's the experience been like from your perspective?
It really has, because I think we can get a lot more accomplished. I'm sure I just found other things to stew about, and get mad about, but that's just kind of how I live. I live at full tilt, and so, they're taking care of business. They're taking stuff off our plate, and they're really allowing us to, I would say, grow in advance. Maybe where we were this time last year, or maybe even mid-November this time last year, I think we're past that. And it's large in part because of the kind of kids we have here on the program.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you. Fork 'em Demons.